So I'd like to know your reaction to what you've heard, and also whether you think there's a right way and a wrong way of protesting. With me in the studio now is another vegan activist, George Horlock, who's organiser at Sussex Animal Safe. Hello, George. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning to you.
So would you like to give me a view on both sides of the argument we've just heard? First of all, from Melissa, what she said and what happened to her.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can understand why she would feel threatened, and a little bit scared. But, in my opinion, the only true victim in this situation are the animals, as Ashti rightly said. It might be her business, it might be her money, it might be her living, but ultimately it's not her skin. Okay, she's paying for animals to be killed to make a profit off them.
Which is a lawful business.
It is a lawful business, but at the end of the day, if she was selling dogs and cat skin, people would cry bloody murder. But just because it's a different animal, we kind of draw that line.
That's an interesting counterpoint, isn't it?
I'd just like to know, what killing is she okay with? Is she okay with killing of all animals or just certain animals? And that ultimately comes down to conditioning.
What about Ashti's method of protest? Do you agree with that? I don't know if you've seen the Facebook video.
I have, yeah.
Okay, what do you think?
But what a lot of people don't understand is that true animal rights people, true animal lovers, okay, vegans, don't see a difference between a pig, a sheep, a cow, a fox, or a dog or a cat. So we can't just walk past and ignore what's happening, just as you yourself probably wouldn't ignore walking past a stand selling dog skin or cat skin. It's wrong and immoral. So I do agree with what they did. They went in, they made their voice heard. And, you can talk about doing it in a more respectful way, but where's the respect for the animals? Where's the respect? They are literally having the skin ripped off of their body so that someone can wear a hat. I mean, we're not living in the caveman times. Do you know what I mean? We're not living like that anymore. We don't have to wear a rabbit's backside as a hat these days.
Would you go as far as that? Is that the kind of protest that you would be involved in, that sort of noisy invading a shop like that?
It's not for me personally, but I do support the message. I totally support what they're doing, okay? And I know them all personally, and they're the most kind, peaceful people I know.
Yeah, one of our texters says, let me quote it, wonder how many of these people are actually vegans, or are they just thugs who enjoy intimidating and threatening people? Well, certainly a couple of people in the video that I saw didn't look like thugs.
No, certainly not. No, they're definitely not thugs, not at all. At the end of the day, veganism is the most peaceful message that a person can give to another. There is absolutely no argument against it when you go about environment, health, ethics. All of it comes together, and it's a peaceful message. We would never advocate violence to spread a peaceful message.
So do you think your best chance of success into taking animals out of our food chain and our, say, clothing chain is directly targeting sellers in little shops like Melissa's, or is it about changing the government's view and making it illegal to sell those products? Because that's what's really going to stop it, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the government's usually quite far behind with social justice movements. Like slavery was once legal. Not so long ago, women couldn't vote. So the government tend to be a little bit far behind as what's happening in our society. And there are other ways to advocate, of course, but again, I just need to make that point then, if they were selling the skin of a dog or the skin of a cat, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary pain. And we can talk about who is the victim here, but the true victim is ultimately the animals. And anyone, I always ask people who think that wearing leather and buying dead animal skin is acceptable. I say, go listen to the videos online. You can hear the animals when they get the skin ripped off their body. They scream, obviously out in pain. They scream, they're terrorized, it's horrible. And if you can't listen to it and you can't see it, then how dare you wear it? That's my opinion.
Let's. I want to talk to a caller. Here's Michael in Recklesham. So, Michael, morning to you.
Morning. How are you doing?
I'm well this morning, thank you. So, give us an idea of your take on what you've heard this morning.
Oh, well, I think personally that the first and foremost way of doing anything is through the ballot box. However, we are living in dangerous times now. Now, whether you're pro or anti this Brexit thing, if our MPs can rip up the ballot box, then the gubs are off. And as that caller rightfully said, taking direct action was the only way the women got the vote, and rightfully so. So just sometimes you go through the ballot box first, but if your MPs will not listen to democracy and they throw democracy in the bin, then direct action is the only way. But please, MPs, listen to your people. whichever thing it's on, whether it's...
Because we saw this the other week. We saw this the other week, didn't we? MPs from some constituencies that voted to, say, leave the EU, and their MP voting in a way to try and... to not vote in the same way their constituents wanted.
In which case, they've burnt the ballot box. And from that point onwards, we live in a very dangerous time. If the MPs won't listen, they're there not to represent the Tories. They're not there to represent Labour. They're not there to represent pro or anti-Brexit. They're not there to represent pro-hunting or bad hunting or whatever it is. They're there to represent you and I. Once they say we are not going to do that, what other actions left to people?
Let's find out. We'll come back to George in the studio here. How far do you go with your protest with Sussex Animals Save? What's the kind of things that you would do and you find acceptable to you personally?
Yeah, okay. So what I like to do personally is I go outside of slaughterhouses where the animals arrive on the trucks will stop, we get a little bit of footage, and then we put that footage on social media so that people can make the connection with not what they're eating, but actually who they're eating. They can look into the eyes of the animal that's on their plate and realise that animal didn't want to die and that they had an interest in living. And what people don't understand is that the only reason this is happening is because it's a supply and demand business. Okay, so farmers aren't just raising animals for no reason, they're raising them because there's a demand for it. Now, most people are animal lovers. Most people wouldn't kill a pig if they had the choice. They would find an alternative option, and that's what veganism is. You can still be perfectly happy and healthy, in fact even healthier as a vegan, and you don't have to be involved in that supply of killing animals.
Can I ask you this? Is there a kind of way of, because there was that diet that was suggested, it was published in the Lancet I think a week ago, that the scientists involved in it say it's best for the planet and it's best for us as humans. And while there was lots of vegetable products in there and seeds, pulses and all of that, there was, you could have an egg and a half a week, I think. You could have some meat products a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
What's acceptable in terms of, for those who choose to eat meat? Is there a way of that's acceptable to you?
Well, I would like to know how much killing people are okay with. If people are okay with killing once a week, then they eat meat once a week. If they're okay with killing animals twice a week, 3 times, like how much killing is okay?
But it has always happened. I suppose that's
You're right.
not a reason why it always has to happen.
No, for sure.
Change,
I mean, we had to do it for survival back in the day. Of course we did. We used to do horrible things for survival. We used to kill and rape each other. But we don't do that anymore. There's laws against that. But we still kill animals because it's tradition. But in some countries they kill dogs, they kill cats, and it's absolutely fine. But over here we find that disgusting. Every single person in this country is against the Yulin dog meat trade. Every single person. Yet, what's the difference between a dog and a pig? Morally, what is the difference?
Joyce in Worthing. Hello, Joyce.
Oh, morning, Danny. How are you?
Very well this morning, thanks. What do you want to say on this?
No, I just want to say, I mean, we're entitled to our free speech in this country, and I just feel that some of these protests are getting quite aggressive, really. And,
we saw quite an aggressive protest against Anna Soubry in Westminster recently, didn't we? Where she was walking down the street and there was several people surrounding her, accompanied by police officers, which was interesting, wasn't it? And they were definitely having their say.
Yes, that's right. I mean, everybody's right to have their protest, agreed. But I think there's ways and means of doing protests.
Where would you draw the limit? Sort of standing outside a shop with a loud hailer, going into the shop and protesting with the owner?
Yes, I think if they just bombard, charge into the shop and all that, I think they should be actually arrested for causing a big disturbance or a fray.
Well, the police didn't feel that it was necessary to attend, so obviously they don't see it quite the same way as you.
No, but I mean, some of these protests have turned out to be quite aggressive, haven't they? And people can get injured, can't they?
All right. Would you be aggressive to people, George?
No, never, because it's not an aggressive message. Okay. Veganism is not aggressive at all. It's the complete opposite to that. The media like to present it as something that's violent or scary or terrorism or militant, and that's just to kind of put people's minds at rest.
Well, we've only been describing it as scary as intimidating, because that's how Melissa said she felt.
Yeah, of course.
That's not me putting words into her mouth.
Obviously the animals can't talk, and I'm sure for them to have the skin ripped off there. But I mean, Joyce just said that she thinks people like that should be arrested. Well, should people be arrested for pulling the skin off an animal's body?
George, thank you for coming in today. Good to talk to you. George Horlick there, Sussex Animals Save.